calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. Our whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Thanks.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation of supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
"21. My father is run over by a car. He's passed out in the road with a blood alcohol content 4 times the legal limit. I do not cry. 4 months later, the nurses lose his pulse, and I wonder whose life flashed before his eyes. Rewinding VHS tapes, old home videos. 20. 19, I haven't brought a friend home in 4 years. 18, my mother sips the word divorce. Her mouth curls at the taste like it burns going down. 17, I start doing homework at Starbucks. I have more meaningful conversations with the barista than with my family. 16, I wait for Christmas Eve. My brother and I usually exchange gifts to one another early. This year, he and my father exchange blows. My mother doesn't go to Mass. 15, I come up with the theory that my father started drinking again because maybe he found out I'm gay. Like, if he could make everything else blurry, maybe somehow I'd look straight. 15. My mother cleans up his vomit in the middle of the night and cooks breakfast in the morning like she hasn't lost her appetite. 15. I blame myself. 15. My brother blames everyone else. 15. My mother blames the dog. 15. Super Bowl Sunday, my father bursts through the door like an avalanche, picking up speed and debris as he falls. Banisters, coffee tables, picture frames, tumbling, stumbling. I find his AA chip on the kitchen counter. 14. My father's been sober for 10, maybe 11 years. I just know we don't even think about it anymore. 13. 12. 11, Mom tells me Daddy's meetings are for AA. She asks if I know what that means. I don't. I nod anyway. 10. My parents never drink wine at family gatherings. All my other aunts and uncles do. I get distracted by the TV and forget to ask why. 9. 8. 7. 6. I want to be Spider-Man. Or my dad. They're kind of the same. 5. 4. 3, I have a nightmare. The recurring one about Ursula from The Little Mermaid. So I get up. I waddle toward Mommy and Daddy's room, blankie in hand. I pause. Daddy's standing in his underwear, silhouetted by a refrigerator light. He raises a bottle to his lips. 2. 1. 0. When my mother was pregnant with me, I wonder if she hoped, as so many mothers do, that her baby boy would grow up to be just like his father.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
and to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Oh, it's going to be a good show today. I can already tell. Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. Friday, the 3rd of June, as we keep on cranking through the summer. Bill Press is not here today, so you're stuck with me, but we will have a cavalcade of network stars joining us all throughout the program to help us through the huge news day we had yesterday. When it rains, it pours. There's just so much stuff that happened yesterday. Our friend Kate Martell from The Hill is going to be here. Christina Wilkie will be here from the Puffington Host. John Allen will be here. Occasional guest host of the program. He's going to come in. And also Vic Berger is going to be joining us via telephone. If you don't know who Vic Berger is, you really should stay tuned because he might be better at Twitter than anybody else. And he's an honest-to-God genius when it comes to his videos that he makes about politics and all sorts of other things. So you have me here today. Of course, I could not do it alone. I have been ably assisted by the Bill Press staff. Jamie Benson. Hello, Jamie.
Good morning, Peter.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Are you ready for the weekend?
Ready for the weekend. It's, well, I'll say this much, right? We had a 4-day week this week. I always dread the week after the 4-day week.
You're right.
Because you're back to 5 days and you're just not ready for a full 5 days.
That's a mathematical fact.
That's
the week
correct.
After a short week is always torture. Yeah, you're right about that. If you call us at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377, the voice you hear on the other side of the phone will be that of Ray Rogers, standing by to take your calls. And video streaming, courtesy of Monty Kanzler, who is here making sure you can watch us on DirecTV, Dish Network, Free Speech TV. For both of those, we're on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TAWKR-TV. It's a well-known fact that one of the worst journalists out there is Mark Halperin.
Yeah.
Is there anybody worse than Mark Halperin? I really don't like Mark Halperin. I just really don't like him.
Well, you know, obviously the Fox News anchors and reporters are in a category of their own.
That's exactly right. When I think of like
mainstream media, right?
Yeah. When I think of the worst, it's Ron Fournier and Mark Halperin. I think those are like on the Mount Rushmore of crappy journalists.
You know, this is a good time to do this, by the way, at 6 a.m. when you have a lower chance of making more enemies. So
bring it.
I'm glad we're not doing this at 7 or 8.
Ron Fournier already hates me. He has blocked me on Twitter only for the simple reason that I said I think that he's a bad father. I mean,
it's rough. That's very rough.
Did you read his story? He wrote a terrible
I don't know if
story.
our listeners know about about Ron Fournier's son.
All right, look. He wrote a whole book called Love That Boy, all about his relationship with his son, who is on the spectrum. Now, it came from an article that he wrote where he talked about how when his son was younger, Ron was forcing him to play sports, and his kid would come off the court crying, saying, I don't want to play. And Ron was like, well, you got to get back out there and do it. And then the kid said, well, I'm tired of, I want to stop playing. And his dad said, okay. And the kid burst into tears. And he says, I'm so happy because I thought you were going to be so upset at me and mad at me. Like, why would you do that to your kids? Why would you put that pressure on your kids?
Well, but the point of the book is he learned from it and he's a better father. I'm not defending him.
Sounds a lot like you're defending him.
I think the idea is that he's supposed to be a better father now.
Yeah, great. So why is he writing a book on parenting? Like, he admits he was a terrible parent. And that's great. You learn from being a terrible parent. That's fine. A lot of people start out as bad parents.
So we were talking about Mark Halperin.
Mark Halperin, one of the other fail sons of Washington, D.C. media. He has his own show. Remarkably, he has a couple of TV shows. And he was talking about Hillary Clinton yesterday at one of her rallies. She had a little crowd participation. It's not uncommon in politics to ask a rhetorical question of an audience and have them sort of help you, like, with your narrative. But Mark Halperin is gobsmacked by this idea.
Someone thin-skinned and quick to anger who lashes out at the smallest criticism. Do we want his finger anywhere near the button?
So, Case, we heard the audience there practically rehearsed. I don't know how they did so well, but clearly the audience in the room helped her along and loved it.
Oh, get out.
Because she's a woman.
Yeah, right.
She needed the help.
First of all, he's talking to Casey Hunt, who he calls Case.
No.
Which I am very much against.
Big time.
But also, like, yeah, have you never seen a politician do that? This guy who is the sage of sages here in Washington, D.C., who watches and eats, sleeps, breathes politics. You've never seen a politician do that? Can we afford to let this politician have the keys to the nuclear code? No. Can we trust this politician to balance the budget? No. It's easy. Oh, but they were rehearsed? I don't think so, you doofus.
You know, I realized, so last night I finally got around to reading Jane Mayer's latest piece in The New Yorker on James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of James O'Keefe is a conspiracy theorist, believing that folks like George Soros, who backs the Clintons, plants people at events, whether opposing or supporting.
That's right.
We're about to get into general election season where those conspiracy theories are going to be wild.
Oh, yeah. They're going to run rampant all throughout this thing. So, whatever. Mark Halperin Mark Halperin also got played like a fiddle with this whole, what's this guy's name? David French? This candidate?
David French, yeah.
Right? He gets the exclusive on this stupid David French story. Yeah. All right, lots of good stuff coming up today. But first, come on, Danny.
This is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories for you on this Friday morning. Game 1 of the NBA Finals was last night in Oakland, California. Golden State Warriors versus the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
And Tim Roy on KNBR out in the Bay Area tells us exactly how it went.
This one is done. The final 3, 2-1. 104-89. Hail to the Warriors defense. Game 1 in the books.
The Cavs are who we thought they were.
Exactly. You know, I do think the Cavaliers are still going to eke out maybe 1-2 wins in this series, probably in Cleveland. But they've got another one Sunday night in Oakland, Game 2. That's when that will happen on ABC. Now, here's the big thing about this game. The Splash Brothers, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they were kind of non-existent.
Yeah, non-factor.
Combined 20 points, 8 for 27 shooting. The Cavs did a great job defending these guys, but the Warriors have a pretty deep bench.
Yeah, they do. They have a phenomenal bench.
Sean Livingston scored a personal postseason best of 20 points last night.
Good for Sean Livingston.
Yeah, good for Sean Livingston, who almost died on a basketball court.
Yeah, that's true.
About 5 or 6 years ago. So we'll see. This may not be as close of a series as we thought it was going to be.
All right. Prediction this year, how's this going to play out?
I'm going to go 4-2.
All right, the correct answer is the Warriors are going to win in 5 games.
All right, there you go. Hey, some news from the Broadway of your favorite Broadway show, Hamilton. The creator Lin-Manuel Miranda has announced that he will be leaving the show in July 9th to be exact. In fact, many members of the Broadway cast, their contracts are about to expire, but none of the others have announced their departure. It looks like it'll just be the guy who actually plays Alexander Hamilton on stage.
No comment.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Hamilton, of course, is focusing on some other projects, including a Mary Poppins sequel that we talked about earlier this week.
Great.
Will come out on Christmas Day 2018.
What a talent.
No replacement yet announced for Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Let me tell you, I have to comment now.
Sure.
This Hamilton thing, this is the dumbest middle school project that I've ever seen.
Middle school project.
It is. It's like a bunch of middle schoolers who are like, oh, we got a great idea. We'll do the story of Alexander Hamilton. We'll set it to hip hop. And I like hip hop and I love history. And I like to keep them separate.
If it was on another subject, would you be...
No!
Oh, you just don't like musicals. That's right.
Well, first of all, musicals are stupid. I've never seen a musical that's worth watching or listening to. They take this weird bastardization of communication. They feel it's just dumb. I could write a hit musical on Broadway. I could. I 100% could.
I'm saving that clip for...
Yeah, I'm telling you. That's what I should do.
All right, last story here this morning as we get things started today. Hey, out in Boulder, Colorado, right? University of Colorado. It's a big party school.
Oh, yeah.
Out there, right?
Yeah.
So one city councilman and resident of University Hill in Boulder, Andrew Shoemaker, is mulling, perhaps outlawing beer pong tables.
Oh, come on.
That's right. So he says you drive through the hill in the spring or the fall, you see them laying out all in the winter. What I'm talking about is getting those things out of the yard. There is already an existing city ordinance in Boulder about couch governance. You can't have a couch on your front lawn. In fact, 65 Boulderites were tagged for couches on their lawns in 2015. Yep. He wants to note it's not just about beer pong tables, it's about tables in general.
Okay.
So you have a problem with couches, now we have a problem with tables.
Okay.
This is not a new thing. Santa Clara, California has banned unattended outdoor beer pong tables for $700
I've never played
fines.
beer pong. I've never
What?
played beer pong.
No, really?
Yeah, never. It wasn't a thing when I was in college. And that's really the only time that you can play beer pong.
I'm not good at it, but I've played it several times.
I have no idea. When was the last... I mean, you can only play in college, right? I mean, once you get out of college, if you're playing beer pong...
I started in high school.
Okay, sure.
I shouldn't say that, but started in high school.
Sorry, Mom.
Got to college, kept doing it. I've seen grown adults play it.
Is that right?
Yeah, my aunt
I've
and
never
uncle
come across
had a table at their anniversary.
Oh, I saw... I was at a party... You were there at this party. You remember the party. The Tim and Swindon. They were playing beer pong.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So popular for adults.
I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not against it or anything. I just it's never really... Phil, our good friend Phil, weighs in. Plus $1 billion on your opinion of Hamilton. Glad I'm not the only one. Don't tell my wife. Phil's the smartest listener we have. And I'm not saying that just because he agrees with me on Hamilton. He has a lot of good stuff to say. But, boy, is that Hamilton thing just a big heaping pile of garbage. Just a big old nasty pile of garbage. Okay. We got so much to talk about. Hillary Clinton yesterday came out just ready to spit fire on Donald Trump. We're going to go through all of those clips all throughout the show. We're going to sort of do a deep dive on that a little bit later on. But the story that I think is the biggest story of the day is Paul Chauncey Ryan, the Speaker of the House for the Republicans. Now, you will remember not that long ago, May 5, where he said, less than a month ago, where he said that he's not quite ready to support Donald Trump as the nominee.
I hope to support our nominee. I hope to support his candidacy fully, and I want to do that. But right now, I got to tell you, Jake, just being candid with you, at this point, I'm just not there right now.
He and his good buddy, Jake Tapper, he just likes to get candid with Jake sometimes. And he says, he wants to see Donald Trump come around on a couple of issues. Now, we said at the time, Bill and I both, Donald Trump is not going to change his stance on anything to try and get Paul Ryan's vote. He's not going to change one thing. He's not going to tamp down his rhetoric. He's not going to all of a sudden become scholarly. He's not going to soften on any of his positions whatsoever. And Paul Ryan will still come out and support Donald Trump. And guess what? That's what happened yesterday.
I had people on both sides of it. I had friends wishing I wouldn't support him. I had people wishing I would. I really didn't feel any pressure other than my goal is to make sure that we're unified.
He wrote a piece for his hometown newspaper where he backed Donald Trump and said, it's a quote, "It's a question of how to move ahead on the ideas that I and my House colleagues have invested so much through the years. It's not just a choice of two people, but of two visions for America. Donald Trump can help us make it a reality," talking about a bold policy agenda. Now, when you talk about the future and the fight for the soul of the Republican Party, not for the conservatives necessarily, because the conservative ideals have been fairly well laid out by politicians, and they make sure that you know that. But on the idea of who controls the Republican Party, who is maybe the number one Republican in the land, I would say Paul Ryan. Like, Paul Ryan is the face of
the most universally respected among Republicans.
Yes. Yeah. And I know Donald Trump is the presumptive nominee, or is the nominee. I mean, he's got the votes. But the presumptive nominee until he actually gets to the convention. But it's hard to call him the face of the Republican Party for now. Paul Ryan is the guy. So you've got these Republicans fighting over where they're going to go, and you've got Paul Ryan like a good little boy, like a good little dog, just okay, Mr. Trump, I support you, Mr. Trump. He said in his op-ed, "I'm going to vote for Donald Trump," and some people said, wait, it doesn't mean he's endorsing him. He just says he's voting for him. To which Paul Ryan's chief of staff put out a tweet that just said, we're not playing games with words here. If you want to call an endorsement, it's an endorsement. So he fully endorsed him. Okay? Fully endorsed him. So that's a good boy, Paul. That's a good boy, Paul Ryan. You do exactly what Daddy Trump tells you to do. You just line up and you just bark like a dog for him. Paul Ryan, absolutely spineless, came out and endorsed Donald Trump. What's funny about this, we got to take a break, but what's funny about this is some of our friends at Bloomberg actually had the story saying that, or it was The Hill, I think, actually, said that that Paul Ryan is going to fully endorse Donald Trump this week. They said that last week because the Trump campaign said it's coming, and Paul Ryan's campaign kept saying, no. Yeah.
Here it is.
Who's the good boy? You're a good boy, Paul. Good job, buddy. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. My whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Next.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight, it's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 27 minutes past the hour. By the way, we are tweeting at BP Show. At BP Show. I'm tweeting at Peter Ogburn, where people are already very vocal about whether or not Hamilton is a big pile of garbage. GF Jacobs says, Peter, you are a fool. Our fool, but nonetheless, every day is Peter Fool's Day. I'll take that. William Cooper says, Peter's generally right, but totally wrong about Hamilton. Whatever. Let's go to Wayne in Chicago. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. Wayne, what's happening?
Hey, Peter, long time, man. I haven't talked to you in forever.
Thank you for calling, man. I always love when you call in, Wayne.
Yeah,
I can listen to you. I can listen to you read a phone book, Wayne. You got those pipes, man.
Okay, thank you.
What's your take?
I just want to make a few brief comments, like about Paul Ryan.
Hit me.
Paul Ryan, actually, he fits right in with Donald Trump with his Ayn Rand philosophy. Paul Ryan is an Ayn Rand disciple, and Ayn Rand said, when Mike Wallace was interviewing her on 60 Minutes, he asked her, well, what happens when you die? She said, the world dies when I die.
Oh, wow.
She actually said that. That's their philosophy. That's why they don't care about fracking.
Yeah,
they don't care about polluting the earth.
That's a good point, Wayne. I hate to cut you off, but we're right up against a hard break. Call back anytime.
This is the Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight, it's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine. Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood. Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. 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 Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour. Peter Ogburn is my name. I'm hosting the show today. Of course, I couldn't do it without you. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. That is our phone number. There's a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. Hillary gave an absolute barn burner of a speech that I think is the tone that she needs to have for how to beat Donald Trump in a general election. But right now, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in this segment. But right now, we're still talking about Paul Ryan. It's so funny to me how he pulled that head fake on everybody and acted like he was going to maybe stand on principle. Maybe not vote for Donald Trump because he was not representative of the values of the Republican Party. Wouldn't that have been refreshing for a politician to stand on principle and say, I'm not going to support this candidate because I think he could do real harm? Jamie, I'm sort of calling audible here. Can you grab that Jake Tapper, Bitch McConnell clip? Because he's out there promoting his book, McConnell. And Jake Tapper found a very interesting little tidbit in his book about how his family viewed Barry Goldwater when he ran for president. So Jake sort of threw that at him a little bit.
Do you worry at all that your nominee now, Donald Trump, will do to Latino voters what Barry Goldwater did to African American voters?
I do. And I think that the attacks that he's routinely engaged in, for example, going after Susana Martinez, the Republican governor of New Mexico, the chairman of the Republican Governors Association, I think was a big mistake.
Now, it's very interesting there at how he brings up Barry Goldwater, because Barry Goldwater and what he did and what he stood for against the Civil Rights Act probably irreparably harmed the relationship that Republicans have with black voters in America. That being said, Republicans haven't done themselves any favors in the years after Barry Goldwater. So it's hard to say that, well, black people don't vote Republican because of Barry Goldwater. Black people don't vote for Republicans because Republicans have continued a history of legislating against their best interests, which is really funny to me because, you know, a lot of Republicans look at black voters as low information voters. They're the smartest voters out there, right? There are white people who vote against their rural, poor, white voters in America who will consistently vote for Republicans who don't give a ripe F about them or their well-being. And they have convincingly told white people to vote for them, even though everything they stand for will hurt them. Black people, they know better. We're not going to vote for Republicans.
Don't you think we're being a little too kind comparing Donald Trump to Barry Goldwater when the accurate comparison, the more accurate comparison, is George Wallace?
Yeah, I've gone down this path before. Donald Trump is 100% George Wallace. Mm-hmm. Because George Wallace was so, say what you will about George Wallace, okay? Obviously, history will not remember him fondly. But he was a political opportunist. That is his history. George Wallace originally ran as someone who opposed segregation. He was an integrationist. He believed black people and white people deserved to go to school together, to cohabitate, to live together. And you know what happened? He got his ass beat when he ran for public office. So he just changed his views because he knew that there was so much hatred towards black people at that time and in that state, Alabama, that he could rise to prominence. And you know what? He did. And that's where Donald Trump is. He's a political opportunist. So all of this is just one big way to say Donald Trump is not a good guy. The Republican Party has consistently said bad and horrible things about Latinos and legislated against Latinos. And the Republican Party knows that when they move ahead into the next generation, they have got to embrace the Latino vote. It's something that they never learned with the black vote after Goldwater. And so the young, fresh face of the Republican Party, the face of the Republican future, Paul Ryan, who will run for president again at some point, is going to have to stand up and face the Latino voter in America and say to them, I supported Donald Trump because blank. Right? And I don't know how he's going to do that. Donald Trump has proven himself to be an absolute horrible advocate for any kind of reform on Latino votes, right? And the Republican Party has got to have those to ever win. 866-55-PRESS is my phone number, 866-557-7377. Now, Hillary Clinton yesterday had an absolute haymaker of a speech in her campaign against Donald Trump. Now, we've got a couple of clips. Let's play that first. Actually, Jamie, can we play the second clip where she says he is temperamentally unfit?
He is temperamentally unfit to hold an office that requires knowledge, stability, and immense responsibility.
This is a good line from Hillary Clinton. This is a good line of attack. This could actually help her in the general election. And Hillary Clinton is, look, not the greatest campaigner of all time. I made a note when I was watching the Hillary speech last night. Okay, here's what she said. Quote, now imagine Donald Trump sitting in the Situation Room making life or death decisions on behalf of the United States. Imagine him deciding whether to send your spouses or children into battle. Imagine if he had not just his Twitter account at his disposal when he's angry, but America's entire arsenal.
You know what that is? Bringing it right to your front doorstep.
Right to your front doorstep.
Bring it home.
Deal with that. Deal with that. I mean, just a baseball bat to the side of his head. Because that is That is the thing. I get the entertainment value of Donald Trump. He's entertaining. He says things that I wish more politicians would say, frankly, a lot of times. A lot of it is awful, but the candidness, the off-the-cuff, like what he did to Ted Cruz, I hate Ted Cruz. And I got a lot of joy out of watching Donald Trump just absolutely violate Ted Cruz. I mean, it was hard to watch at times. But I get that appeal. I do. But that really, it's a very sobering point. Donald Trump has a terrible attitude, a terrible temperament, and when he gets mad, he does the most powerful thing that he can do. He goes to Twitter and he rants and he tries to bring people down. When he's president, he can do a lot more things, a lot more powerful things. He can launch a war with someone who made fun of his penis, right? Like a literal war. He can launch airstrikes against someone who says he has short fingers. He can send your sister, your brother, your husband, your wife to go and fight in battle because someone made fun of his hair or said he's bad at business.
World War III.
It could be World War III.
The battle of the bulging manhood.
Whole new meaning to the battle of the bulge. Yes, exactly. Hillary Clinton went on. Let's play that third clip where she talks about dangerously incoherent.
Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different. They are dangerously incoherent. They're not even really ideas, just a series of bizarre rants, personal feuds, and outright lies.
People are laughing, but she's right. It's not funny. She's 100% right. This is not a game. Politics, people cover politics like it's a sporting event, and that's fine. I get it. But this is now not a game. She went on, quote, "There's no risk of people losing their lives if you blow up a golf course deal, but it doesn't work like that in world affairs. The stakes in global statecraft are infinitely higher and more complex than the world of luxury hotels." It's like, when he says things like, "Oh well, I'm gonna sue China," or I'm gonna tell China to do this or do that. No, you're not. In a lot of ways, China's got more power than we do. 43 minutes past the hour. 866-55-PRESS. 866-557-7377. My question to you is this a winning strategy for Hillary Clinton? I think it is. I think this is the first look at Hillary really finding her stride here. And she's not the greatest campaigner. She really, I think, has a good strategy here to beat Donald Trump. 866-55-PRESS. 866-557-7377. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today. We'll be right back.
Your place to talk about the 2016 election. This is the Bill Press Show.
For my 6th birthday, my grandpa gave me a Rubik's Cube. I'll always be able to remember its edges, hold it in my hands, heft the weight of an overwhelming problem. I remember him telling me about it. How Rubik's Cube has 43 quintillion, 252 quadrillion, 3 trillion, 274 billion, 489,856,000 possibilities. He told me it can be really confusing sometimes. But to look at the center squares as a reminder of what color each side should be. Shift. We're celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary. He and Grandma are dancing a dance that only fragile legs and wrinkled hands know how to. That type of happiness took him 70 years to earn. The white side of the cube is solved. Shift. He tells me about how he met Grandma. His college friends had a sunset picnic. She was there, as beautiful as an unsolved puzzle. She was a red-headed scramble on an orange tile sky. Shift. The walls of the hospital are blue. The nurses explain that his memories had become jumbled. Strangers in family portraits, pictures with mismatched faces. Alzheimer's has made his mind into a Rubik's Cube. Shift. He's a highway patrolman. His car is white. No, it's blue. He worked there for 30 years. Some nights he still does. Time is a complicated algorithm shift. The pills he holds are yellow and red and green. The weight of their color causes his hand to drop. I try to shift his tiles back into place, but people don't have center squares. His mind is a hospital bed divided by 0. Shift, my sister's wedding is white, but he doesn't know why. Shift, World War II is every color. The South Pacific is blue. The islands are green. There is so much red. Shift, grandpa, table, cube, name, scramble, California, guitar, grapefruit highway, wedding bell, war, stick shift rifles, South Pacific mirrors, shift, 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 shift. The temperature of his hands is blue. Death is colorless. I will always remember his edges. Hold him in my hands, heft the weight of an overwhelming problem. I was unable to attend his funeral. I never found out the algorithm to solve him. A Rubik's Cube has over 43 quintillion possibilities. A casket only has one.
He's not running for president, but he will shake hands and kiss babies. It's the Bill Press Show, your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election.
It's the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today, 47 minutes past the hour. Hillary Clinton really taking it to Donald Trump yesterday. Jamie, let's grab that one clip, Donald Trump, where he talks about his temperament, right? Because she really went after his temperament, and she says, this is not a guy that you want running the country, a guy who will just pop off and say something really horrible and offensive and dangerous when he's the president of the United States. She's right. Donald Trump fought back.
My temperament is so much tougher and so much better than her temperament. And by the way, we need a tough temperament.
No, we don't. No, first of all, he's confusing tough temperament with a reckless temperament, right? Just because you say whatever you think doesn't mean you have a tough temperament, right? That just means you're kind of an a-hole. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. Let's go to Jessica in Caribou, Maine. What's happening, Jessica?
Hey, good morning to everybody. Anyway, my husband is fond of saying you always want someone on your side who knows where the bodies are buried.
Yes.
Well, he's got Paul Ryan there because I have a feeling not where the body is buried, but Paul Ryan probably knows and approves of whomever it is that Donald Trump has selected for his vice presidential nominee.
Now isn't that interesting, Jessica? I hadn't thought about that. That's a very good point.
So,
yeah,
that's, background.
That's a very good point. And the saga of the Donald Trump Paul Ryan relationship is not over. I mean, you're going to have to see at some point. Because, Jamie and I, we went to a baseball game the other day, and we were talking about how the Republican convention is going to play out, right? Because it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And every night there's a keynote speaker, right? So we were saying, for the Democrats, it's pretty obvious, right? Obama's going to speak. Bernie will, of course, speak. I imagine Bill Clinton will speak. And then Hillary will speak on the final night. That'll be sort of the headliners. And then for the Republicans, I really don't know what's going to happen. Because Mitt Romney would be an obvious choice, but he won't do it. The brothers Bush, Jebby and George, that would be an obvious choice, but they're not going to do it. Trump's vice presidential candidate will probably have a night, so that's another night. Paul Ryan's going to have to get up there. Paul Ryan's going to have to get up there and show his face to the Republican Party and to the world about why, and talk to them about why he's supporting Donald Trump. And Jamie, that last Paul Ryan clip that we were going to play earlier about, the process of whether or not he wanted to vote for him because he had to get to know him.
I didn't know the guy at all.
What?
Before he got the nomination. Quite frankly, I didn't expect the nomination to be clinched until June 7th at the earliest.
That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard a politician say. I don't know Donald Trump personally either. Doesn't matter. I'm only judging him by the things that he said in public, which are horrible. It's pretty easy to make up your mind here. I didn't know the man, never met the man, didn't know he was going to get the nomination. So what? That's not the point. You're not judging them based on whether or not he gives good hallway when you see him. You're voting for him based on his politics and his policies and his ideals, and those are pretty bad.
You know, his family always seizes on, you should see him with the grandkids. He's just such a good grandfather. He's not running for grandfather-in-chief.
Exactly.
He's running for everything else but grandfather-in-chief.
You know, George W. Bush, really likable guy if you got to know him. Everybody says he's a great guy, perfect guy to have a beer with, watch a ball game with. Hell, I'd love to do that. One of the worst presidents we've ever had, George W. Bush. Great guy, good dude, solid bro, good hang with George W. Not the guy I want running the White House. That's stupid. Donald Trump, we played those comments earlier about his temperament. It's so tough. It's just the toughest temperament. It's so much tougher than Hillary. He was speaking in San Jose, California, where Donald Trump protesters strike again. They turned violent last night, throwing eggs, throwing other, I can't even tell what all was happening, but
there was blood.
There was blood. It was very violent. And obviously that's not something that you ever want to do. But this gets right back to what we were talking about earlier with the comparison between Donald Trump and George Wallace, right? Because the people who support Donald Trump and who show up to his rallies and who are sort of his foot soldiers, it's the same thing that Wallace did. He just used them as cannon fodder. He threw his protesters under the bus all the time. It got violent. There were violent protests against George Wallace. And he would use that to point to the media. My message is for everybody to stay calm, and these people are attacking my protesters, and you cannot have, and you're not giving us proper coverage. It rallied his supporters, just like Donald Trump will use this to rally his supporters. You got to stay strong. The media doesn't want us to win. These protesters don't want us to win. These protesters will be painted as Hillary Clinton supporters by Donald Trump, and this will end up being a net win for the Trump campaign. So
he might say Bernie supporters, though.
He might say Bernie supporters.
Crazy
yeah,
Bernie.
That's a good point. Crazy Bernie. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. A very quick break. We'll be right back.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
Every day when I was 5, my older sister would play teacher. Her students were me, my stuffed rabbit, and an American Girl doll. She'd line us up at the end of the bed and teach us whatever she'd learned in school that day. Now she teaches ESL at an elementary school in Boston, and every week she tells me stories about her students. Anna does not know how to read in Spanish, much less English, but she still wants to be a writer when she grows up. Juan chooses to stay inside and study at recess so that one day he'll be able to teach his own brother. These kids are good organs in a sick body. In 2001, No Child Left Behind gutted bilingual education. Students who have been in the country for 1 year are now expected to perform at grade level on standardized English tests. My sister is not allowed to instruct them in Spanish. If the kids don't jump high enough, the school loses money. Improving a school by picking its pockets is like tuning a guitar by ripping off the strings. Learning to read in a new language before you can even read in your own is like learning to walk while a pit bull is chasing you. Like learning to sing with the conductor's fist down your throat. This year for my sister's birthday, I got books for her students. A poem on one page in Spanish, the next in English. She is not allowed to help them read the first. Their heritage is a banned book. Learning to read in a new language when you can't even read in your own is like trying to heal a burn victim by drowning them. We are telling these children who have spent their whole lives in the deep end that they'll learn how to swim if they just float out a little farther. In the 1980s, American slaughterhouses began building corrals in curves so no animals could see the blood at the end of the tracks. This is how we kept them moving forward. In 2001, we began building the hallways of our schools in curves. This is how we keep them moving forward. You never learn, you fail the test. You never learn, you fail the test. You never learn, you drop out. I know. I am lucky enough to be one of the winners of this game. I was handed a head start and a rule book in my own tongue, but the winners of a rigged game should not get to write the rules. On the television, some senator preaches that throwing money at an urban school is like feeding caviar to your dog. They just won't know how to appreciate it. After all, if these parents can't take care of their own children, why should we? Well, tell that to Anna, who has my sister translate newsletters aloud to her father because he too was never taught how to read. Tell that to Juan, whose mother and baby brother are still in Guatemala, whose father works 3 jobs. My sister tells me school is the most stable place in these kids' lives. She has been a teacher since she was smaller than they are. But since when does being a teacher mean having to swear not to help? Since when does being a teacher mean having your hands tied while the schoolhouse burns to the ground? We are leading these children along a track built in circles as their lungs fill with smoke, telling them it is their fault. They can't find a way out.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. All right, so Donald Trump yesterday at that rally in Sacramento said that Clinton, quote, made a speech. She's making another one tomorrow, and they sent me a copy of the speech, and it was such lies about my foreign policy that they said, I want Japan to get nuclear weapons. Give me a break. See, they don't say it. I want Japan and Germany and Saudi Arabia and South Korea and many of the NATO states, nations. They owe us tremendously. We're taking care of all those people, and all I want them to do is pay up. Well, unfortunately, there are transcripts out there of former interviews that Donald Trump had given, including one in April, not that long ago, to the notorious Chris Wallace of Fox News, where he said, it's not like, gee whiz, nobody has them, so North Korea has nukes. Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with that. Maybe, in fact, they would be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. Wallace asks, with nukes? Including with nukes. Yes, including with nukes. Trump responded. That is a good old-fashioned lie that he just called himself in. 866-55-PRESS is our phone number. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today. Lots of stuff coming up in the next hour. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right, guys, I want to take the last part of the day to change our focus and talk a little bit about water. There's rivers, there's lakes, there's huge oceans. You get thirsty, you just go and you get some water, right? We rely on rain for our water. We even rely on snow. But what if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. I want you to tell your parents, your friends, your neighbors, how important it is to save water. It's up to you guys to save the planet. All right? What if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. It's up to you guys to save the planet.
Hi, I'm Mark LaFleur, and I produced the short film you just watched called Aqua Force. California is experiencing one of the worst droughts it's ever had, and now, more than ever, it's important for everyone to do their part to help conserve water. The reason I made this film is because I wanted to make something fun and informative that would get people talking about the California drought. Obviously, this is an important issue because we have a limited amount of clean drinking water. I think it was very important to let people know, especially young people, that this is an important resource, maybe our most important resource, and it's something that we can't take for granted and we certainly can't waste. I really wanted this to be something that children would respond to. The kind of thing that any kid anywhere in the world, no matter what language they speak, could understand the story and be entertained by it and leave it knowing that this is something important, that if they didn't already know about this, that it's now going to be a part of the way that they think about water, the way that they live life, and that it's something that they'll share with their friends. The fact that they watch this video once or twice and they immediately understand that water is important. That's it. That was the whole point of this thing, to get it into the conversation, to make it something that kids are thinking about, talking about, that they're aware of, and that they know is important. This project was self-funded, so we relied on the support of our community to make it happen. It was pretty amazing to just have our neighbors, our friends, and our coworkers come together and volunteer their time and their homes and their kids to make this thing happen. Thanks for checking out the video. Keep the Aqua Force going, and thanks for watching Free Speech TV.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Bill is out, but he will be back next week, of course, as we ramp up to the conventions, man. They're like right around the corner. They're next month. Oh, boy. It's chaos in here, right? Getting ready for all that nonsense. We are here carrying the ship as best as we can without our fearless leader. But, of course, I could not do it alone. I've got Jamie Benson on the board. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, sir.
Good to see you. Ray Rogers is kicking ass and taking names over on the phones. 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. And you're watching us on Free Speech TV, on DirecTV or Dish Network, or on the Roku box. And we are also streaming live video at youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKRTV. If you are watching us on any of those devices, you are doing so because of the great work of Monty Kanzler, who is here doing everything he can to make me look halfway decent, which is not an easy job. Not on a Friday, anyway. Any big plans this weekend, Jamie?
Yeah, actually. I think I'm going to go to a concert tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Seeing the hip-hop artist Anderson .Paak.
Oh, there you go.
Who's sort of a genre bender.
Yeah.
So if you don't like hip-hop music, I get it, but give Mr.
No, he's
Paak
good.
a chance.
He's really, really good.
Really talented.
I'm going to AwesomeCon with my kids and one of their friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me and 3 kids, and we're going to the convention. So it's this just giant thing where everybody dresses up as comic book characters.
So it's like DC's Comic-Con.
It's like DC's Comic-Con.
Which is based out in San Diego, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, the original one.
Which I'm all about. It's a fun thing. Like I like comic books very much. I like comic book movies and superhero movies and all that. But going with 3 kids, man, I am not ready for that. That's going to be a whole scene. But hey, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump sort of sharpened their rhetoric a little bit yesterday out on the campaign trail. Rick Perry, who is like one of the saddest characters in politics now because he lost very badly the last time he ran for president. And he lost even worse this most recent time. But he jumped around to giving his endorsement to anybody who would take it until finally he settled on Donald Trump after everybody else he endorsed started dropping out. And he's trying to sort of be a hitman for Donald Trump, and he's actively put his name out there to be a vice presidential candidate. And he was giving an interview yesterday, and he talked about what it's going to look like when Donald Trump debates Hillary Clinton.
Donald Trump will peel her skin off in a debate setting, and actually he'll peel it off this evening out in San Jose as well.
Peel her skin off. That is some Game of Thrones talk. That's a little harsh. And if anybody knows about good debating, it's Rick Perry. I can tell you 3 reasons why he's a good debater. First of all, he's up on his current events. Second of all, he's very charismatic. And third, I can't think of the third reason.
When he wears glasses, he looks like a lesbian?
That might be it. You remember, he famously could not remember the 3 agencies that he wanted to get rid of when he was in the debate. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. But peel her skin off.
I don't mean to ruin your segue, but
go ahead.
This video is perhaps the next video for our next guest.
Our next guest, I'm so excited to talk to. I've been such a big fan of this guy for a while now. Vic Berger, the 4th, video editor extraordinaire. Like, Jamie, you and I do audio editing.
Right.
And it's hard to do. I mean, but like we do it. It's like there's like, you know, you can find your narrative, you build it up, you make all these different edits.
Tedious.
Video editing is something completely different, which I've tried several times. I'm just not good at because it's too hard. This guy is it's the greatest stuff I've ever seen on the internet. Vic Berger, video editor for Super Deluxe, among other things. Hi, Vic. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, Peter?
I'm well.
Great to be here.
Follow Vic at Vic Berger, BERGERIV, Vic Berger IV, on Twitter. Vic, I've been wanting to have you on for a long, long time. I have to say, if people aren't following you, they should absolutely follow you. And they should go watch your Steve Harvey video. I just watched it again during the break for probably the 10th time, and it only gets funnier.
Thank you.
Just play a little clip, Jamie. You have a little clip.
I don't want to host this show no more. I pass gas all day long. I don't want to host this show no more. I don't want to host this show no more.
It's so dark and it's so good. And I watch Family Feud every single night. It's my youngest kid's favorite TV show. And there's always a moment where Steve just loses it and just stares at the audience. And you captured it so well. Tell me how you sort of came about doing this video.
I think just the ridiculousness of their responses, which I think Steve he's always like so shocked at these answers that they're getting, but it's almost like the questions are, they're setting them up to say these ridiculous words.
Totally.
Like fart or whatever, like
tallywhacker.
Yeah, tallywhacker. And I don't know if they rehearse it or what, or they have them think of different words, to say for tallywhacker or whatever. But I just think it's how ridiculous it is, and I just kind of took it where lately I've been going with my videos. They've kind of gone to a darker place, where something that's semi-safe daytime TV kind of thing, but you take it to a different place and it's darker, and you see you imply this human sadness to Steve, who's like, you make him look like he's real sad and upset about it, but at the end of the day, he's coming home with $12 million a year.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel too bad for him.
No, so don't feel that bad for him. He's going to be all right.
Everybody first started paying attention to you because your videos with Jeb Bush were so good. I said on air at the time, I said, there are political reporters who've been doing this for 30 years who cannot capture the essence of their subjects as well as you do. First of all, Jeb is a mess.
Yeah. It's a waste.
Jeb is a mess. Jeb is a waste.
Yeah.
But Jeb was so, he fit in so well with not only just the goofiness of your videos, but also when you did sort of make a weird dark turn, the weirdness of Jeb just fit so well.
Totally.
Were you into politics, or were you sort of brought in by the weirdness of Jeb?
Well, because what I'm doing, I need footage, and I need stuff to work with. And with the election season coming up, there's an abundance of it, and noticeably, there's been a lot more on the right. So I've been kind of focusing on, because there's 17 candidates, so there's a lot of debates, there's a lot of press conferences, all these things. I was interested in politics, but I still am not like a political junkie by any means, but I keep up generally, with it, and
sure.
And I use these things to create these stories, I guess, or melodramas or whatever you want to call them. And Jeb, was just a fascinating guy because he's, the brother of a president, the son of a president, but you could just sense that he's kind of doing it to make his dad happy, and it just worked into that, and he's like this pathetic guy, who everybody, at least I think everybody thought he was going to be the front runner, and then here comes this crazy clown, Donald Trump, to unseat him and push him out of the way and bully him on the way out, and I kind of just played into that and exaggerated that and focused in on how sad Jeb was as he's getting bullied.
It was I went back and watched some of your video recaps of the Republican debates, which I advise everybody to go do because they hold up. And there is this infinite sadness just bubbling underneath Jeb, and it was so well captured at the debates because Trump didn't care. He didn't prep. He didn't have, donors that he was trying to make happy. He just came out there with his air horn and just really tried to just put it to Jeb. And Jeb would always just have this resigned moment where his head and his shoulders would just sort of fall. And it would be, and it was just so great. And Jeb even engaged with you a little bit online because of the first
He
video.
did. That was a big mistake. Yeah.
Jeb loves technology. Was your first sort of breakthrough video.
Right, and that was what I used to supposedly get a tattoo on my neck of Jeb for Prez.
Yeah. We talked about that with our friend Chris Moody, who I know you talked to.
Oh, that's right.
From CNN. But it was great. Right. I mean, it was you got a neck tattoo that says Jeb for Prez, which you didn't actually get.
I didn't actually get.
But Jeb thought you were going to get it.
Jeb thought I did, yes.
Don't you just know that when Jeb learned that you didn't actually get a Jeb tattoo, he had that same face?
Yeah, totally. And cue the sad music.
Yeah. You mean Jeb didn't, or you mean Vic didn't actually get the tattoo, and just shoulders fall and
just
head leans off to the side. Oh no, I've been had again.
Yeah.
You also had a lot of good material to work with Ted Cruz. How did that come about? Did you, because you stumbled on some footage that he put on YouTube that wasn't really available to the public, right?
Yeah, I came across this YouTube channel that was, I guess, for when he was running for Senate.
Mm-hmm.
He uploaded hours and hours of this like stock footage of him and his family, walking through the park, this perfect family, eating dinner or
multiple
whatever.
Multiple takes on the prayer before dinner.
But they didn't. But they uploaded so their super PAC could have access to it, and so they're not connected or whatever. But they didn't turn the sound off for some reason on all this stock footage of them eating, and they're going over this. They're doing the prayer multiple times, and Ted's telling his kid to say the prayer, and they have this phony conversation. But I was able to use that and make some pretty creepy videos out of.
But it's again, this gets back to the point that I was saying earlier. There are people who have covered politics for a long, long time who haven't exactly spelled out the way that some of this stuff works. I think that's fascinating that he had all of this video that was shot, and you cannot plot and plan with your super PAC directly,
right?
But you can lead them to where you want them to go, and so that he just put all this stuff online for his super PAC to find and use is a really dirty way that politics works, and I think it's brilliant that you found it. Let me ask you this: now that Donald Trump is the presumptive nominee, I hate to ask the question of who is best for your art, because a lot of these guys are pretty terrible human beings, and so while Donald Trump is good for comedy writers and guys like you, it's a really horrible proposition for our country. But do you sort of relish in having a guy like Donald Trump being where he is because you get more stuff?
No, I think it's scary that he's getting this far, and I would rather focus my energy on something else. But if he's going to be in the picture, I'll focus on him. But I don't want him to win, by any means. I think that's a terrible thing for the world if that were to happen.
Yeah.
But he is. I will say he is endlessly entertaining. But looking back, I remember when he was coming down from the escalator, that to announce his presidency, I remember laughing so hard, because it's like this is his entrance on an escalator. it's so 80s looking and gold and just pathetic, So I remember laughing so hard as I'm watching it live, and I made a video from that speech, and looking back on it, it's pretty tame. My edit of it compared to how I've been editing lately. It's gotten a lot darker with him, and it's not so comical in a way. It's more, there's a more seriousness to it.
Yeah.
And I think I'd rather have the goofier stuff, in the future rather than have this tyrant, in charge. So.
Yeah, totally. No, I used to have this conversation a lot with people when George W. Bush was elected for his second term. They're like, well, yeah, he's great for comedy. I'm like, yeah, but he's horrible for the country.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Like,
what's more important, comedy or
yeah, right. Exactly. What's more important?
Right.
All right. Vic Berger, IV on Twitter, Berger. Also his website, victorberger.com. Again, Berger. From all things Trump to Steve Harvey to Jimmy Fallon to the Chubby Checker stuff is honestly might be my favorite. The Chubby stuff is so great. Vic, keep doing what you're doing, man. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Have a good weekend, guys.
You too. Video editor extraordinaire Vic Berger here on the Bill Press Show. Glad he took some time to join us. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. We'll be right back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight. It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek, Newtown,
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls? How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. 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 Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. 26 minutes past the hour. Jamie, I need your help on this.
Oh.
See this?
Okay.
You see this? You see this Chewbacca mom? See about this?
Yeah, I played the audio for you a couple weeks ago. You didn't like it.
What did I say? Not interested.
Yeah.
This woman drives
I
me
saw the
nuts.
latest update.
All right. So Candace Payne is this woman's name.
Mm-hmm.
She got internet famous because she went out and she bought a toy Chewbacca. Don't play the audio. She went out and she got a
hands off the
hands off the computer. She went and bought a Chewbacca mask and then put it on in her car while she was streaming it live on Facebook. And everybody thought it was the funniest thing in the world because she was laughing. It is, you know what it is? You seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah.
You know how at some point, like in the future, the only TV show they watch is a show called Ow My Balls?
Yeah.
Because it's just some dude getting hit in his balls repeatedly and everyone laughs at it. It's that. It's that. We're laughing at some hayseed who buys a stupid children's toy and tries it out in her car and she thinks it's the funniest thing ever. And everyone's just like, oh, literally every article I read about this woman says, Candace Payne, comma, who brought joy to millions around the world, ... and then tells the story of the Chewbacca mask.
Okay, so I just want to I want to differentiate something real quick. A couple months ago, we played a clip of a grandma who the grandson gave her a virtual reality headset.
Yeah.
And it was like she could see dinosaurs or whatever all around her.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious because she was just, doing an awkward grandma giggle and she couldn't get her bearings or whatnot. Is that the same thing to you or is that acceptable?
I think that's funnier because it's an old person having a problem with technology.
Okay, that is a genre.
I think that is a real human issue. But this woman literally just put on a mask and just starts laughing. It is literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
To me, they're the same thing. And I laughed at both of them.
I could see how you would think that. I could see how someone with a very simple mind would think that. But
I should just cut your mic off.
I mean, that's fair. I would if I were in your position. Anyway, the news is Southeastern University has given her children full tuition scholarships. Oh, and her husband. So her husband and her 2 young children now have full rides to go to college. Because what?
That's good.
Why?
Education is the key to our future.
Oh, that's called failing upwards. Peter Ogburn in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show. Men,
I have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold. From the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks.
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
My beauty.
my power,
My life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am
I am
tired,
tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name
is
Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 33 minutes past the hour. Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. Bill is out, but I am here along with the whole team, Jamie, Ray, Monty, and I always say this, but when I host the show, I always like to surround myself with very smart, talented people, not unlike the way that a donut surrounds an empty, vacuous hole with wonderful deliciousness. And that is why I've asked Kate Martell to come in studio. Kate Martell with The Hill, staff writer and author of The Hill's 1230 Report, which you should absolutely sign up for. Hi, Kate.
Good morning.
Good
and
morning.
Speaking of donuts, happy National Donut Day.
It's National Donut Day. It is National Donut Day. What's the deal? Is it like if you go to Dunkin' and you buy a drink, you get a free donut? Is that what's happening, Jamie?
Yep.
You're the Dunkin' expert, right?
Yeah, free
That's
donut
true.
with the purchase of a coffee.
Is that how it works?
And Krispy Kreme today.
All
I'll
right.
hit them all up.
Same deal over there, Kate?
Yep, same deal.
All right. Here's the thing. Not that I've trolled enough people already today. Dunkin' Donuts is not as good as Krispy Kreme donuts. Where's the lie?
No, when we're talking about donuts, I agree with you.
Well, it's Donut Day. It is National
I go to
Donut
Dunkin' Donuts to drink coffee.
Okay.
Primarily iced coffee.
And you go to Krispy Kreme.
One
to
cream,
get
one
donuts.
sugar, turbo shot.
Turbo shot, huh?
Always.
When you started the anti-Dunkin' Donuts crusade, I tensed up ready for battle, and then you said donut,
Us
and I was
New
like,
Englanders,
you might be
I want to be
right.
clear. I know you
We're gonna-
two
we're
are,
gonna start
you two
this
are
war.
from that area. I don't want to. I'm not going to go there. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts are pretty bad. The coffee's fine.
They're not great.
Yeah, it's fine.
Krispy Kreme, objectively.
But if it's donut day and I'm going to go get a donut, I'm going to Krispy Kreme.
Or tour to donut today.
Oh, that's a good idea. A donut crawl for donut day. You could go to like all of them. Yeah, I like that. Tell us really quickly, Kate, where we can sign up for the 12:30 report, because I'm signed up for so many newsletters that I get every day, and they all hit my inbox at the same time, like very, very early, right? I get the skim, all of them, right? Like before the sun comes up. But yours is right when I want it, right? Like the show is over. We booked up some guests for the show, but then your great thing comes out at 12:30. Where can people sign up for it?
You go to thehill.com, and under the news section, you click the 12:30 report. You can sign up there. And like you said, yeah, it comes midday. So
it's perfect.
It's a little bit more reasonable schedule to do, and you can kind of find out what has broken in the day rather than writing things at 4 a.m. and hoping that this is what pops. But we can actually see what news did happen that
morning. The morning newsletters are always everything that happened yesterday. Go ahead, James.
Can I just break in real quick?
Go ahead.
Dunkin' Donuts just tweeted at me.
What'd you say?
This is from yesterday, because my friend Ryan.
What happened?
Had a bad batch of iced coffee.
Donut alert! Donut alert! Jamie has to break in.
Sorry.
What happened? No, don't apologize.
So I said to my friend Ryan, after she said that she had a bad batch of iced coffee, I said it's a very rare but very sad occurrence when Dunkin', the holy grail of iced coffee, screws up my order. And I just got a reply from them 2 seconds ago. Oh no, sorry to hear this. Please DM us so we can make this right.
You're getting free coffee.
Oh yes, I am.
You're getting free coffee. You're gonna get like a week's worth of free coffee. Look at how happy he is. Look at that grin on his face. Monty, give us Jamie Cam. Give us Jamie Cam. Look at that. Look
All
at
right,
that.
Carry on. This is enough.
My goodness. All right. I want some of that. I want some free Dunkin' coffee.
After that hate? Nope.
Fair enough. All right, Kate. Yesterday, we saw what I thought was going to happen. Paul Ryan came out and endorsed Donald Trump, a full-throated endorsement. When Paul Ryan... Jamie, grab that clip from May 5th, because this is what sort of set off this whole tiff thing between Paul Ryan and Donald Trump.
I hope to support our nominee. I hope to support his candidacy fully, and I want to do that. But right now, just I got to tell you, Jake, just being candid with you, at this point, I'm just not there right now.
He's just being candid with Jake. That's what he loves to do. He's not there right now, is what he said about supporting Donald Trump. And then yesterday, he came out in an op-ed and very full-throatedly endorsed Donald Trump. Did Donald Trump make any kind of concessions to Paul Ryan to get that endorsement?
Short answer, no. And I'm shocked that Speaker Ryan came out and did that. What I think he could have done, I think an effective strategy so he didn't look defeated in this whole process, is if he had even said in the op-ed, I'm willing to work with him if he gives us entitlement reform, if he gives us tax reform, as far as the judges go. But, it sounds like Donald Trump may have promised him something like that. But why should we believe now that Donald Trump, he changes his positions all the time. So it sounds like Paul Ryan just kind of conceded this when he kind of had more of a bargaining chip than I think he led himself on to believe.
Exactly. Well, people were saying, oh, well, Donald Trump is going to come around and see eye to eye with Paul Ryan on something. I have a feeling this meeting that they had a couple weeks ago, Donald Trump said, I'm not changing anything. I've got the power. Like, Donald Trump voters don't like Paul Ryan. So it really doesn't matter if he gets Paul Ryan's endorsement or not. And I think Paul Ryan was either going to get swept away by Trump-mentum, or he was going to be a part of it, and he jumped on board. I just want to read part of what he wrote in an op-ed for his hometown newspaper, which, by the way, yawn. Like, if you're going to do it, like, come on and stand behind it. Quote, it's a question of how to move ahead on the ideas that I and my House colleagues have invested so much in through the years. It's not just a choice of two people, but of two visions for America, talking about the bold policy agenda. Donald Trump can help make it a reality. Can help us make it a reality about that policy agenda. What I think, like, the Republicans clearly are sort of fighting for their soul, right? You've got guys like Paul Ryan who, when you talk about Paul Ryan, you have to point out that he's a bookish numbers guy, and you've got a guy like Donald Trump who is more blustery, right? So why would Ryan go there?
So that's what let's play a devil's advocate. First, I was saying,
I love playing devil's advocate.
This may not have been the strongest move for Paul Ryan. He may look weak, but actually, let's fast forward ahead. He may know that he looks bad now, but hey, if Donald Trump becomes president, Donald Trump wants to get anything done. Paul Ryan is his magic gem to make anything get done and to get any of the congressional Republicans behind him. So he might be saying, you know what, I'll go along with this now, and even saying with the caveat, you know, I can still criticize him on if he insults Muslims and, you know, try to keep the party's soul on immigration and a few other issues. But then, you know what, tables will be turned. If he is president, he'll have a big bargaining chip and he can kind of cash that out then.
I think what's going to be interesting is going to be how much he plays along with Trump as he runs for president, right? Because Trump is going to have people out there. He can't necessarily do it on his own once we really kick into general election gear, right? Like Hillary's going to have Obama. She's going to have Bill Clinton. She's going to have a lot of big surrogates, and Trump really doesn't have any. Paul Ryan might be that guy.
He might be that guy. And you also have to look at the parties themselves. You cannot underestimate how powerful having all the data and the money and the fundraising, the RNC, and that comes down ballot as well. So they kind of need each other. And you know, I think you could tell that Paul Ryan was kind of biting his lip doing it and did not want to, but it was kind of, does he stand in what front he believes in, or does he just kind of cave all of that and, you know, try to lose some of the work that he's done already by taking a step back?
You know, we were talking about this earlier because we were trying to figure out like convention schedules, right? Because you always have like a headline speaker every night. And I just don't know who it would be for the Republicans. You got 4 nights you got to fill. I imagine now Paul Ryan will probably be one of them. Mitch McConnell, right?
I think there are going to be a few people that we haven't. My guess is they're not going to be standard politicians that we know. They could be.
Clint Eastwood will be
We
back.
could have the empty chair again.
Chair moment. Oh my God, can you imagine? I mean, the Democrats are probably pretty easy to figure out, right? You could Bill, Barack, whoever Hillary picks as vice president. Bernie, I'm sure, will speak.
Mm-hmm.
We hope. Who knows? And then Hillary will headline. But yeah, I was trying to. I could see Paul Ryan being one of those headliners. All right, let's take a quick break because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. Hillary sort of sharpened her attacks on Donald Trump yesterday. I want to get into that with you. Kate Martell is with us. She is with The Hill, thehill.com, and follow her on Twitter at Kate Martell. That's Kate with a C. Make sure you follow her, and you can follow us at BP Show. Quick break. We'll be right back.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine.
Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood.
Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls? How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. 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 Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad.
As a friend.
as a husband,
as a wife,
as an American,
as an American,
as an American,
as a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show. Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today, joined by the wonderful Kate Martell, staff writer at The Hill, one of our favorite guests. Thank you for coming in, Kate. Follow her on Twitter at Kate Martell. That's Kate with a C. You can follow the show at BP Show. You can follow me on Twitter at Peter Ogburn. I wouldn't bother with that. And you can also follow Jamie. If you're Dunkin' Donuts or anybody else. What is it, Jamie?
At J Benson DC.
J Benson DC. You know what happens, Kate, is we always give Jamie's Twitter, and then he gets a lot of love letters from gentlemen. So every now and then we get to open up the mail sack and read letters. That
I'll be honest, it's been a while since the mail sack has been full.
Last time, I'm going to be honest, I fished for some compliments and I got them. So I'm good. My tank is full. You, however, as a millennial, need constant reassurance.
Yeah.
So please.
Ask Kate. She knows what it's like.
Please. Yeah.
I'm in it for opening these letters,
They're good.
I'm not going anywhere.
Shout out Maynard, our good friend Maynard, who has a huge crush on Jamie. He even sent us a bunch of delicious coffee and tea because he loves Jamie so much, only because he wanted Jamie to take his top off.
Maynard is
he's the best.
One of our favorite fans.
He's the best.
And the only consistent filler of the mail sack.
Yeah.
So.
Shout out Caveman Coffee.
Shout out
his
Caveman
brand
Coffee.
that he sent us. It's delicious. All right, Kate. I want to play a clip from Hillary Clinton yesterday because she was in San Diego and she sharpened her rhetoric against Donald Trump. Let's play that second clip, Jamie.
He is temperamentally unfit to hold an office that requires knowledge, stability, and immense responsibility.
I think it was a good speech. She talked about him rolling the dice with America. She said, it's one thing to get upset at somebody and jump on Twitter and blast them. It's another thing when you've got the United States military and the men and women who serve in it at your disposal. How did she come off yesterday?
Well, what a line. I think it was filled with one-liners. She looked very presidential yesterday.
She really
Everything
did.
about the speech, like we were saying, that the backdrop, all of her one-liners, the way that she interacted with the crowd, she just came off very effective. And Mitt Romney tried making the same speech a few months ago, and where did that get him? But the fact that Hillary Clinton can come in and do that as well. And I think that we saw Donald Trump's tweeting after showing that it got under his skin a little bit, and he just wasn't having it.
That is, I think, the blueprint for how to campaign against Donald Trump. Personally go after him and call into question whether or not he's actually fit to do this job, because he takes it very personally.
And make your one-liners less than 140 characters.
Yes, exactly. This is similar in a big way to sort of what Marco Rubio did, where he called into question his manhood. That really got under Trump's skin. I mean, he made a point to stop the debate to go and hit on that point. So if you go after him personally, you might give him enough rope to hang himself.
And so you're saying this election is a wrestling match, and I think we found the weak spot. And
yeah.
We're going to see them push.
Trump's response to that was, Jamie, do you have that clip where he talked about his temperament?
My temperament is so much tougher and so much better than her temperament. And by the way, we need a tough temperament.
Says it all, doesn't it?
Speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's confusing tough temperament with just, shooting your mouth off. How does, I guess, like, where does the Clinton campaign go from here? Because clearly I think she got some body shots in on Trump. Are we going to see her, like, keep this up?
I think what we saw yesterday is what we're going to see for the next 6 months. I think that is exactly the blueprint. They know they need to get under his skin. They need to hit hard and often. They're going to have all their surrogates out. And you know what? Now they're going to have probably some Republicans, more hawkish Republicans that can't get behind Trump already, you know what, ready to help them, which you never would have expected.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jamie, can you grab that Mitch McConnell clip? Because Mitch McConnell was talking to Jake Tapper yesterday. This, I think, is very interesting, Kate, because we talk a lot about African-American voters in this country. Now, they tend to vote Democratic because of what happened with Goldwater. Right, he was so against the Civil Rights Act, and Republicans rallied around him, and it sort of did irreparable harm to the relationship between African American voters and Republicans. Jake Tapper asked Mitch McConnell about what Donald Trump is doing to Latinos, because Mitch McConnell wrote about Goldwater in his book a little bit.
Do you worry at all that your nominee now, Donald Trump, will do to Latino voters what Barry Goldwater did to African American voters?
I do. And I think that the attacks that he's routinely engaged in, for example, going after Susana Martinez, the Republican governor of New Mexico, the chairman of the Republican Governors Association, I think was a big mistake.
I think that's a very telling quote from Mitch McConnell. Yeah.
That sums everything up, I think.
Yeah.
And just to go back to Paul Ryan, you know, with immigration, that the fact that he said that he's still going to hit Donald Trump on immigration. He's still going to, the Muslim comments. And, you know, I think we're seeing that, again, this identity crisis in the Republican Party, that do we want to risk losing the White House and some seats in November versus do we want to keep our identity for a long term?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Paul Ryan, despite his sort of waffling on politics stuff, I mean, he is a principled guy on immigration. And I think he has to, because it's a smart thing for Republicans to do. You've got to repair the work or the relationship between Republicans and Latinos. And Donald Trump is not helping that out.
And for Donald Trump at this point, if he wants to win the presidency and the Electoral College, he's going to need to do something. The way that that he looks with Latino voters right now, he'd need to win 65% of the white vote. The only time that's happened in recent history is Reagan in '84 when he won by a landslide. So
that's fascinating.
So the odds of that happening are obviously very, very low. Yeah. So he's going to have to do something, but, you know.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, Kate Martell, staff writer at The Hill, author of The Hill's 1230 report, which you can get. You just have to go to thehill.com and sign up for it. Also follow her on Twitter at Kate Martell, Kate with a C. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you so much.
See you later on. Thanks for coming in. More show coming up right after this.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
This is the Bill Press Show.
It is the Bill Press Show, 56 minutes past the hour. We've talked a lot about Donald Trump today, and we're going to talk some more to kick off the next hour with our good friend Christina Wilkie from the Huffington Post. She did a deep dive on Trump University. She is the national political reporter for the Huffington Post, and she will join us at the top of the next hour. Of course, thank you all so very much for tuning in. Jamie is still riding high on his Dunkin' Donuts tweet.
Hell yeah, I am. Did you DM them? I sent them a DM. I haven't gotten a reply yet.
Slide into those DMs?
And I was honest. I said, listen, I appreciate the tweet. It was my friend Ryan's coffee that got screwed up. At one of their locations.
No. You got to milk it.
But one wonders, we were talking about Dunkin'.
Let me ask you a question. Did you at them or you just wrote
They were added because she had added them and I replied all, whatever. One wonders, maybe Dunkin' Donuts listens to the show.
That's a good thought. I hadn't really thought about that.
I mean, it's a very low probability and it would have to be ideally their social media director, but
if you are a brand and you listen to the Bill Press Show, please let us know.
Well, because we haven't named the studio yet. Remember, we're going to name
That's
the
true.
new
We
studio.
haven't named the studio. We've been thinking about naming it. If you're a brand and you listen to the show, we could very well end up branding our studio after you.
Yeah. You got a logo right behind you.
By the way, sad note that I just had to put in. I think this is something that we all knew. But Prince, the autopsy report was released yesterday. Prince officially died from an overdose of fentanyl, a powerful opioid painkiller that is up to 50 times more potent than heroin. Excuse me?
It's nuts. Ray and I were talking about this earlier.
Oh, my God. It's a sad story. I think we kind of knew that was coming from Prince. Everything that we had heard pointed in that direction, but you hate to get that confirmation. So rest in power, Prince, and we will be right back to talk more about Donald J. Trump. Stay tuned.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You taught him how to hit a baseball.
Just like that. Say hi.
How to hit a receiver. The strike zone. The net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. My whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Thanks.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation of supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight, It's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yes, it is The Bill Press Show. I'm clearly not Bill Press. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill today. Thank you all so very much for watching the show. We've got a jam-packed final hour of the program. I'm thrilled to be joined by my good friend Christina Wilkie, national political reporter for Huffington Post. Hi, Christina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for coming in.
It was my pleasure.
Christina, you can follow her on Twitter at Christina Wilkie and read her good work at HuffingtonPost.com. We're going to do a deep dive on Trump University in just a couple of moments. First, say hello to the best backcourt in radio, Jamie Benson and Ray Rogers. Jamie is running the board. Hello, Jamie.
Good morning, Peter.
Ray Rogers is screening your calls at 866-55-PRESS, 866-557-7377. And if you're watching this on TV, on TawkrTV or Free Speech TV, you're doing so because of the great work of Monty Chancellor, who is here running the cameras. Jamie, during the break there, you just got a call on the bat phone, the hotline. Was it something urgent? I saw the phone ring. What was happening?
The caller on the other line said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I had the wrong number. I was trying to order a pizza."
You're trying to order pizza?
Mm-hmm.
It's 8:07 on the East Coast, and they were trying to order pizza. Is there a 24-hour pizza delivery service?
Ray was just asking that. I hope there is.
There's a 24-hour anything delivery.
There's got to be, right? Yeah, there's got to be. Like, someone's got to be delivering pie 24/7.
It's a West Coast, so it's what, 5 a.m. on the West Coast?
But
it's
even
still,
like,
still a cutoff time.
Pizza places stop at what, 1 or 2?
3 at the latest, I think.
3 at the latest?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. That's either a really early or a really late pizza call. I'd love to think someone is up like after an all-night thing.
I'm guessing really late. Yeah, that's what I'm voting. Yep.
Although pizza for breakfast is
delicious.
Wild delicious.
God, it's good.
It's so good. But I prefer cold for breakfast.
So do I.
It's got to be cold for breakfast.
Cold with a lot of salt and pepper.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, you can give us a call at 866-55-PRESS to order pizza or
we'll
to chime
to
in. Yeah, we'll do what we can. I mean, I make a decent pizza. I don't know that I can deliver it to you. And we've got a lot of other things to talk about. Jamie, can we play that Rick Perry clip again? Because Rick Perry has sort of become an attack dog for Donald Trump. He endorsed everybody that he could before Donald Trump until it was inevitable he had to endorse him. And he's actively campaigning to be vice president. Here's how he said Donald Trump would treat Hillary Clinton in a debate.
Donald Trump will peel her skin off in a debate setting, and actually he'll peel it off this evening out in San Jose as well.
That's not okay.
Someone has been watching too much Game of Thrones.
That's exactly what I said. This is Ramsey Bolton.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is disgusting.
Right.
It's not.
Or it's Hannibal Lecter.
Right. Dr. Lecter for VP.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not good. Not a good look.
And Rick Perry isn't exactly the guy you want as your attack dog anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
There's some good attack dogs out there.
If anybody knows anything about debating.
Oh, I know. Do
we really have to?
We have to go there.
Yeah.
We have to. He'll never, we can't not.
As I said earlier, there are 3 reasons why Rick Perry is not the guy to attack Hillary Clinton's debate style. Exactly. All 3. All right. Christina Wilkie is joining us. We're going to talk about Trump U in just a moment. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Bless us with some top news.
A couple of other stories for you on this Friday morning. Let's start with It's video games. As the world goes, so do video games, apparently. Electronic Arts announced yesterday that The Sims, the simulation game that play on your PC or Mac.
You control. By the way, the most boring game of all time.
I never played it.
No, I did once. I go, what's happening here? I want to race.
I already have a life. Why do I need a life?
Why do I live somebody else's life?
Pay someone else's bills and have someone else's kids.
It's not even fun. It's
know.
like you literally have to do things
I know.
like
It's
that.
daily hassles. In cyberspace.
Tell me about The Sims.
Well, now you can do things that you couldn't do before. Okay. So The Sims announced on Thursday that they will be removing gender boundaries. And if you want to create a transgender sim, you can.
Okay.
For the first time ever, all right? So they had already, back I believe it was 2008, allowed same-sex marriage or same-sex relationships to occur in the game. But now, as executive producer Rachel Franklin told the AP, quote,
"You're executive producer of a video game.
Female Sims can wear sharp men's suits like Ellen DeGeneres, and male Sims can wear heels like Prince."
I'm all about inclusion, but why would this have ever been an issue in the first place?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
But kudos to The Sims. They did actually work with GLAAD's transgender media program to get this right.
That's interesting. I'm on board with that. I'm more appalled at people still playing The Sims.
Yeah. It's a big thing. There's people that stay at home all day and live their lives through The Sims.
That's sad.
That's some Black Mirror stuff, man.
Yeah. All right, some news for the Rio Olympics coming up this summer in Brazil. There's a lot of concern.
I keep forgetting it's this summer.
It's right around the corner.
Very
There's certain buildings that are not fully constructed yet. We saw that with Russia with the Winter Games a couple years ago. We now have perhaps the first American that has fully said that he will not be going to Brazil to compete in the Olympics. And he's a talented athlete. He's an American cyclist named TJ Van Garderen. He realizes that the chances of contracting Zika virus are minimal, but he does not believe that there have been enough precautions taken to minimize that threat. He was considered to be one of the top 2 cyclists on the U.S. team. Obviously, the U.S. team hasn't been so strong since Lance Armstrong. But regardless, if you want your team to win, you have a pretty good chance with this guy.
Someone gives you a ticket to Brazil and says you could go there for a 2-week vacation, all expenses paid. Do you go?
No.
I don't go.
Right now, no.
I don't go.
Especially not if I'm a world-class athlete.
Jamie.
What?
Yeah, this is Jamie's favorite type of vacation.
Oh, really?
Free one.
Oh, okay.
I'm going.
Yeah. What else you got, Jamie?
And finally, a new fad happening in Europe.
I bet I hate it.
You probably do. Centered in Berlin, a new trend going down of people snorting cocoa powder to get high. Yeah, that's right. Raw cocoa, which of course is chocolate in its purest form, can be taken as a pill, powder, or drink, and it can supply users with a rush of endorphins, providing a more natural high. What do you guys think of this?
Let me just say, first of all, I love to get messed up. I'm a big fan of altered states.
How long does it last?
Yeah. Tell me more.
It does not say how long it lasts.
Does it hurt?
A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition says that cocoa can improve blood circulation and cognitive function.
Is there a hangover?
So maybe I'll just do it because I'm a health nut.
No hangover.
No hangover?
No hallucinations.
Oh.
But some folks are saying that
I do like hallucinations. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
Some folks are saying that this could be a placebo effect going down here.
I was going to say, it's 2016 and we've just discovered, you know what I used to do? You ever see that BC headache powder that you just pour and you pour in your mouth and you drink it? I used to think you're supposed to snort that.
Whoa.
When I was a kid, I used to snort BC headache powder.
When you were in college?
When I was even younger, my mom was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What? You're not supposed to snort it?"
How did you even know that you were supposed to snort anything?
I don't know.
What have you been watching?
I watched way too many cop shows as a kid or something. But if you actually got messed up snorting cocoa powder, somebody would have found out before now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone snorted everything,
Yeah, right.
I gotta believe
Ozzy
that.
snorted ants, right?
Right.
You can't get high doing this, but have you ever taken the cinnamon challenge?
No, I haven't, and I won't.
I think it's the dumbest thing in the world.
It's a tablespoon of cinnamon?
It's a tablespoon of cinnamon, and you got to hold it in your mouth for like a minute.
Apparently, it's impossible to do.
That's dumb.
It's really dumb.
Because you don't even get high.
I know, exactly. I've done dumber things.
Point?
I've done dumber things to get high. But yeah, cocoa powder, I don't think I'm going to snort cocoa powder.
I think someone has snorted their entire spice cupboard at some point in in human history. So
hey man, I got that hot Cuban for you over here.
Some oregano or whatever.
Man, I got that smoked paprika hooked
Someone
up. You know
would
what I
have
mean?
found it.
Yeah. Oh man, I got that fennel plug, man. I got what you need.
Someone's done it for us.
Oh my God. Yeah. I am firmly in the camp of not snorting cocoa powder.
Yeah. No Cocoa Puffs.
That's settled for me. All right, Christina, you have done some great work on Trump University. Donald Trump is in a little bit of hot water, a lot of hot water, over his Trump University. Let's start at the top here. Explain to us exactly what Trump University is all about, what it claimed to be.
So Trump University was part of a big expansion Donald Trump made in the mid-2000s in his brand, in his personal branding. He thought he could sell the idea of the Trump lifestyle, the idea of how he got so rich. He'd already written a couple of books. He started writing a lot more. So he teamed up first with an online educational system that was supposed to teach people entrepreneurship online. And that was the first iteration of Trump U. Then he realized you could make a lot more money by doing live events, they called it. And so these live events were a classic hot sell. They start out free. You go to one event, it's about 3 hours. You're told, there are things like this all over, but you're told that you can get rich quick. You're told it's a very emotional, high pressure, exhilarating event with lights and and lots of people. And they tell you that you've been living your life wrong, that the reason that you may not have done as well as you hoped you would is your own fault. It's because you haven't seized opportunities, and they have just the opportunity for you. So they began hosting, they began hosting these events all over the country, and they started making real money. And the point of the first event was to get you to a place where they could sell you the next most expensive programs. And what they promised to do, and this is at the crux of a very big fraud lawsuit that Donald Trump is currently facing. But what they claimed they would do is teach you how to use Donald Trump's secrets, whatever those are, right?
I don't want to know some of Donald Trump's secrets.
But to make you rich, and to make you rich in real estate specifically. So that's the initial story of what it is.
Okay, all right. So basically, you go through it's almost like a Tony Robbins seminar.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But all he's promising is how to be happy. Donald Trump.
Right. Promise you rich.
Yes, rich and happy and fulfilled. But this was a more specific kind of information they promised to be selling to give you, and they really rode hard on the Donald Trump name. So they gave participants the impression that these guys were in touch with Donald Trump all day long, that they were Mr. Trump's right hand, Mr. Trump this, Mr. Trump that. Mr. Trump would like you to invest.
Ah, there we go. Mr. Trump would like your money.
Yep.
What strikes me, and I mentioned this yesterday, we were talking about it a little bit. I don't want to blame the people that get into this, right? Like, it's not, first of all, I don't think it's a good idea to go into this, and you should know better on some level.
Right.
But when we're talking about Donald Trump, this is the point, I think, of this lawsuit, is when you're talking about Donald Trump, who's running for president, who wants to represent everybody in America, you have a certain amount of influence, you have a certain amount of clout, you have a certain amount of responsibility.
Enormous.
And if you have that, and you choose to bilk people out of all of their money and encourage them to throw their life savings away and max out credit cards and specifically target people who
can ill afford to spend this money, and if you're peddling a product that is not what you claim it is. And so this is where we begin to talk about the legal question of what's fraud. And fraud often legally requires intent. So you need to know that what you're promising people and what you're taking their money for is not what they're going to get.
So let's jump into the lawsuit a little bit, because what is at the crux of this lawsuit?
The crux of this lawsuit is whether or not the promises made by Trump University, specifically first that Donald Trump had, quote, handpicked all of these instructors. And the second big promise they made was that you'd be taught Donald Trump's special secrets. Yes. So these were two promises that were made over and over by Trump himself, by employees, on video, everywhere.
Let me just stop for a second, because when we talk about Donald Trump's secrets, I mean, Donald Trump inherited his wealth. Is that?
Yes.
That's a fact.
That
right?
is a fact, yes. And he doesn't deny it.
Yeah, okay.
And-
So that's a great trick to have, I guess, is have a
Right.
really rich father.
And if you really wanted to drill down into what, and we have, and I have, into what you could learn potentially at Trump University, it's buy low, sell high. Which, oh my gosh, stop the presses, buy low, sell high. It's amazing, right?
You make a compelling argument there.
A lot of the stuff they taught you could learn at the public library. And so which adds to the ethical question of how they could have taken people's life savings in order to teach them 101.
How much money are we talking about him taking from people?
So there were a couple of different tiers, and the job of these salespeople, who we've just learned a lot about, is to ratchet up, to make the potential customer / student, enroll,
/ mark,
right,
/
exactly,
target, sucker,
and they use very classic sales techniques. The set, the close. These are terms known to hardcore marketing.
Gross.
Yes, but the point, you could spend up to $35,000 for what they said would be a year of hands-on mentoring with a real estate expert who was hand-trained by Donald Trump. All of this turned out to be false. You wouldn't get a year. And these people were sure as heck not trained by Donald Trump. A lot of them had no real estate experience at all.
Are there any success stories from Trump U? Did anybody get rich off of
Funny
this?
you should say that.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump put out a video this week.
Oh.
Yes. Citing 3 people. It was a classic testimonials.
3 people.
3 people. Not only 3 people, but get this, 3 people, none of whom were in the real estate business. Not a one.
Oh, perfect.
And so one guy, turns out one of these 3 people was a guy who sold protein water at Donald Trump's own resorts.
Of course.
Of course he did.
What a success story.
And he said, I love Trump University. Another woman who did it was literally a professional testimonial giver. And these videos.
Get out.
So she was found to have done lots of other kinds of testimonials. Yeah,
Get out.
exactly.
Are you serious?
This is an industry. This whole, the hot sell, get rich. It's a long-standing industry. A lot of it is not illegal, and these guys often skate very close to the law.
Yeah.
Your Tony Robbinses.
Yeah.
But they're careful. They've got lawyers. And the question in the Trump lawsuit is, did Trump and did these salespeople cross that line?
22 minutes past the hour. Christina Wilkie from the Huffington Post is in studio with us. I have to take a quick break. We're going to talk more about Trump and the lawsuit and the judge right after this. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press. We'll be right back.
Your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I have never felt so at ease as the day you called me precocious. I have never feared big words, only those that refuse to use them, and the syllables rolled off your tongue like honey. I was hooked. Language became our vein of communication, and I know that everybody uses language to communicate, but ours was different. As if in between the letters and the syllables there is a secret message only we could decipher. My days were filled with the sound of your voice, and your nights were littered with the loops of my handwriting. We exchanged our favorite words, mine being illuminated and yours being cattywampus. And our least favorites, mine moist, and yours almost. And when I asked you why, you said it was because almost held failed potential, that it represented our ability to be just not good enough, that we had come to the brink of something beautiful but fell short so many times we crafted a word for it. But even we, with our supposed mastery of the English language, were not immune to the shortcomings of our vocabularies. Words can only help you if you speak them. I never told you that I loved you. You never told me that you were dying. 5 easy words that would have shattered our worlds. I love you, I think. I have a brain tumor. You know, still to this day, I don't know all the details because medical jargon has never fit right in my mouth. And even now, 5 years later, it feels like an invasion of your privacy. But I do know I have pored over our conversation, searching for the secret message you certainly tried to send me, and I am sorry. But I only almost found it. Salt water is not good for paper, and my tears warped your words. After some serious consideration, I've decided to change my least favorite word, because while moist is gross, malignant is malicious. Malignant is uncontrollable, means a phone call and the phrase, he didn't wake up. Malignant is messy and unfair and a thief. Malignant means I never got to say goodbye. Malignant is the cause of almost. Because you were on the brink of something beautiful, but you couldn't quite reach it, and you fell too far.
From the
I am so
United
sorry
States.
I wasn't there to catch you. I hope your heaven is a library, and I hope it is void of almosts. Te amo, Daniel. Sleep well.
Y'all like that poem? Say hell yeah.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Peter Ogburn sitting in for Bill Press today, along with Christina Wilkie from the Huffington Post. We're talking about Trump University. So, will this hurt Donald Trump politically?
I believe it will. And the more documents are unsealed and the more that we learn about how this place was run, because Donald Trump's whole premise for running for president is that he hires great people, that he is a great manager, that he is on top of his work. And that's because, and he's promising. And so everything we're learning about Trump U undercuts all of these arguments. It also undercuts a big argument he's making, which is that he can help make poor people, disaffected people who feel the economy's left them out. He can make them rich.
That, I think,
and
is
what we're learning
really
is that
damaging.
he did the opposite.
Yep.
He took their money, and these were people who could not afford to lose it. So the same people, many of the same who are voting for him, would be exactly the sort of marks that would be conned by Trump University.
That's a good point, because I get the Trump voter phenomenon. I do. I know there are a lot of people out there who are really frustrated and don't have the job they want and aren't getting paid what they think they deserve. And
those are exactly the people who would have been targeted. And what these documents are showing us is that they went after those people. If somebody felt their life hadn't gone right, that was what made them a perfect mark.
National political reporter for the Huffington Post, Christina Wilkie. Follow her on Twitter at Christina Wilkie. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Peter. I love this show.
So good. Thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is the story of my grandfather. When I was 19 years old, his right hand was crushed in a printing press. He was supposed to lose the hand, but a young doctor saved it just in time for the war. This is the story of the war. My grandfather repaired tanks. Behind the front lines, away from the cameras, he would pull pieces of dead men from the machines and send the machines back out to the field. This is the story of the war a decade later. Back then, you didn't talk about depression. There was no such thing as PTSD. When my uncle, age 7, asked him who won the war, my grandfather said, nobody. This is the story of my grandfather, the machinist. I have a newspaper from 1981. A story about the Nobel Prize for Physics, a photograph of the winner, a Harvard man standing by his machines. This man is not my grandfather. Beneath the photo, my grandfather has written, "I designed and built almost everything in this picture." They worked together for 10 years, but my grandmother says the physicist never even remembered his name. If you asked that Harvard man, there would be no story of my grandfather, just a pair of disembodied hands. This is the problem with stories. They have to leave something out. The editor cuts a line and someone's face fades. The editor says 200 words or less and suddenly a whole family goes missing. The spotlight isn't about the light, it's how it makes everything around it dark. My grandfather's face is erased from every story. The machines survive, but the man who made them doesn't. The machines make the photo, but their maker is out of frame. But we choose where to point the camera. We can choose how to tell the story. We can choose which clothing the hero wears. I could tell you this is a story about a soldier, or I could tell you this is a story about the blue-collar man, but really, this is just the story of my grandfather. I did not know him. I was born too late, but my family tells me his name. Alfred Franzosa. I know that name might only live in this moment, that there are other stories with greater stakes, but still, I will tell you his name. I will repair this old machine. I will let my grandfather live again because I could not know him while he was living. Once, when he was younger than I am now, his right hand was crushed by a printing press, crushed by other people's stories. When it healed, he began to build. He used his hands to build tanks and his hands to build cradles. His hands were the last thing to touch dead soldiers and the first to touch his newborn sons. He built a good family, and that family built me, and now I use my hands to build his story. The story is not a eulogy. A eulogy seals the casket. A eulogy lets no air out. This story is a resurrection. Jesus was not resurrected by God. He was brought back by the people who told his stories. It does not take a miracle to raise the dead, to leave behind the tombstone and take the name with you.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press today. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. It's National Donut Day, as we've discussed. Did you know that?
Are you just mocking me?
No, I'm dead serious. Today is National Donut Day. If you go into... John Allen is with us, by the way. I'll just give you the introduction. You know him. He hosts the show often. He is community and content with Sidewire and a columnist at Roll Call. You can follow him on Twitter at John Allen DC. John with no H, just a J-O-N. You got a new profile picture up on Twitter, by the way.
I'm being roundly mocked by my friends for that, but now I can't get rid of it. I don't know if you... Like, once you get mocked for something like that, it's very difficult.
Why would they mock you?
It kind of, it's got like an 80s.
It's got a Tiger Beat look to it.
Yeah.
It's got a Tiger Beat look to it.
That's exactly right.
But it's good. It's good. I'm not knocking you for it.
I mean, you know, there were a series of photos taken in a studio.
The picture,
and I went for the, you know, plays with camera one. So.
You know, the photo that I have for my the one that I have is the one.
That's my Dances with Wolves name.
The one that I have on Twitter is the photo that someone sent of me. It's the C-SPAN camera that picked me up at the White House Correspondents' Center.
In the blue light.
In the blue light. When I maybe had been How do I put this, Jamie?
I don't know. I'm going to let you handle this.
I was a little high. And someone saw this picture of me, and it's just me grinning at a camera. And they
in the blue light, which is like sort of eccentric. Like when I saw that picture, I was like, ha.
Yeah.
There's Peter somewhere in the gloaming, just kind of.
There's also another picture, I haven't put it out there, that you actually took of me and DJ Tanner.
Yeah, Candace Cameron.
I haven't seen this.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
I'm going to show you that one, John.
You guys make a nice looking couple. I mean, not to worry your wife
it's okay.
or her husband.
No, it's okay.
It was a good looking couple.
There was a bit of an incident because the dress that she was wearing was too long for the room. I mean, you're like stepping on top of people there. And I had accidentally stepped on her dress, and we almost had a
bad day for her, good day for everyone else.
Yeah, I mean I guess that's the only way to put it. And so we had a whole exchange. You captured the picture. It was nice. Okay, John, let's just jump right into Hillary Clinton yesterday because she had a big event in San Diego. You, of course, are the co-author of the book HRC about Hillary Rodham Clinton that you authored with Amy Parnes. And I want to get your take on sort of her noticeable tone change yesterday because I'll say it, I think Hillary Clinton's a really bad campaigner. I just think she's a really bad campaigner. And she yesterday actually looked pretty good, I thought, the way that she attacked Trump.
So what we've seen of her as a campaigner in the last two cycles is her campaigning in Democratic primaries where ripping the face off of Barack Obama or Bernie Sanders does not do well for her.
Weird.
People already in the Democratic Party, I mean, look, some people like her a lot, but there are also a lot of people who don't like her, and that makes her seem worse when she goes negative on other Democrats who are better liked.
Yes.
When she goes negative on Donald Trump, that unifies her party, and I think what we've seen is she's better being negative about other people than she is positive about herself.
That's very well put. Yeah, absolutely.
And she was really good at it. And what I picked up on was, so number one, you've got the full pivot here.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of talks about her pivoting at earlier points in the primary. Bernie Sanders was left yesterday to criticize her and was essentially the lone voice in America criticizing her.
Yeah, he yesterday for the first time in the Democratic primary, I think looked inconsequential. It really didn't matter what Bernie said,
and maybe a little churlish.
Yeah.
You know, it was like he didn't say anything that like broke through, and what he said was like, not nice.
No,
right?
I think that's exactly right.
So, but the other thing I thought she did that was fascinating, I would be shocked to find out that Barack Obama's old speechwriting team didn't work on this.
Yeah.
Because this was full of, I'm going to tear this person apart, starting by ridiculing their idea and then connecting it to the higher purpose that I have, the higher principle that I have. And I thought that was fascinating. I mean, it just sounded very Obama-esque.
It did.
I mean, just time after time, she just kind of made fun of him. And then she said, but here's why that point is serious.
Yeah. You know, when Obama spoke out about Trump a couple weeks ago, one of the things he said was, this is a serious job, being a president. It's a serious job. We need a serious person. I think she took that and expanded on it, right? Like, if you get angry as Donald Trump now at somebody, you can go on Twitter and you could blast them, and everyone has a good laugh, and it captures the news cycle for the day or two, and then you move on to your next thing. But when you're president and you lose your temper and you have the arsenal of the United States military, it's a different ballgame.
I mean, that tweet my nasty remark button is a lot different than the delete Russia button.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, exactly. Launch nukes button is, that's true.
Which is what she said. And so I thought it was as effective a takedown of Donald Trump as I've heard. In fact, even when President Obama has gone after Trump in the past, like at the 2011 White House Correspondents' Dinner, I'm not sure it hit the mark quite as well as what she did yesterday.
But this absolutely
best speech of the campaign by her so far. Now the question is, can she sustain it? I don't think she defeats him with one speech that most people won't hear.
Right.
But if that's what you see in a debate, I almost wonder if she should have held on to some of that material.
Yeah, true. Oh, well, I'm sure we'll hear a lot of it again. I mean, she's going to use this all the way.
I mean, she didn't even go after him for, saying that the Mexican judge has a conflict of interest. I mean, there are so many ways that you could go after it. You could say, Donald Trump idiots shouldn't be able to vote for him because it's a conflict of interest. They're all idiots. I mean, there's so many ways to just
she's listening.
Sort of like light him up, with a sort of similar, like, absurd logic.
Yeah. The whole thing or I should say his response of my temperament is so much tougher, so much better than hers. Do you have the clip of him talking about his temperament, Jamie?
My temperament is so much tougher and so much better than her temperament. And by the way, we need a tough temperament.
Yeah. Is what is he confusing a tough temperament with something else? Seems like he might not understand exactly what that might mean.
I mean, he's the guy, like, you show up in your Aston Martin, to the high school, and he's like the guy going, I got a better car at home.
Yeah.
I got a great girlfriend in Canada.
Just don't ask her about it.
Exactly.
Right.
If you could track her down, my Canadian girlfriend is so much more beautiful than your girlfriend.
Yeah. Just don't ask her about it. Yeah, no, she'll deny it if you ask her.
Yeah.
She's embarrassed. Yeah. We talked a little bit about Barack Obama and sort of how he went against Donald Trump. That's one thing that I think people aren't really factoring into the close polls right now, which I know it's early on, and the polls don't mean as much now as they will. But at the same time, also the same people that said that the polls that showed Donald Trump was going to win the Republican nomination wouldn't hold up, and that turned out to be totally wrong. But I think one thing that people aren't really factoring into the polling is that Hillary Clinton hasn't released her attack dogs yet on Donald Trump, and I think Barack Obama is going to be probably the biggest attack dog out there. He takes this very personally.
He is more popular than Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and maybe more popular than the two of them combined.
Yeah.
So, how many points does he give up by attacking Donald Trump? Maybe a couple. Maybe none. Maybe he goes up.
Yeah, right.
I mean, maybe the reason that we're seeing all this approval of him is the contrast of him against these other candidates.
I was going to say, I think a lot of the reason that his approval rate is going up is that he's stopped being so cautious and careful and calculated. He's
let his foot off the brake. And
so
stopped it down on the gas.
I think if he goes out there and he's swinging, I think he goes even higher.
He's a huge X factor in Hillary Clinton's favor. Look, there are 5 living presidents or former presidents. None of them are for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That should tell you something, right? I mean, this is
a good point.
It's going to be very, very hard for him to convince the American public when it comes down to it that he is rational and that he is somebody that should be trusted if all of the establishment says, on both sides, says that
everybody who's had the job. Everybody who's had the job says
this guy can't do it.
He can't do it. But he's got Paul Ryan's.
And by the way, they don't have the same interests. The former President Bush, George W. Bush, they don't have the same interests that other politicians do.
Right.
They're not making that calculation of like how is this going to affect my political future.
It doesn't matter. Right.
So they're angry about Jeb Bush. They're angry about the treatment, but I don't think that's the only reason they're reluctant.
No, I don't think so either. Well, let's talk.
And obviously Mitt Romney too.
Mitt Romney, yeah, exactly.
The last nominee.
So we were having this whole conversation about the conventions, right? Because I think at the Democratic convention we will see whoever Hillary picks for vice president. Bernie will probably speak. Obama will speak. Bill Clinton will probably speak. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of recognizable people. The Republican convention, who's going to be the big headline speakers, right? Who's
probably not Clint Eastwood.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he's going to have a
I think it's going to be it's going to be hard for. I mean, look, it's going to look like a Tea Party convention from a few years ago before the Tea Party became more serious.
Yeah. you know who it might be, or one of the names we might see is Paul Ryan.
I don't think Paul Ryan's going to get out there and give a big speech. Maybe he'll be present, right?
He's
chairman of the convention, so he'll be up there, but. Man, I don't think he wants to go up there and give a big Donald Trump endorsement. No, you'll see Ben Carson and maybe Marco Rubio, possibly Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina. Well, maybe not Fiorina.
Yeah, maybe not.
So like, look at this face.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I do want to talk more about Paul Ryan and sort of what he did yesterday, because he came out and gave a full-throated endorsement to Donald Trump. My name is Peter Ogburn. I'm sitting in for Bill Press. I'm joined by our good friend and frequent guest host, John Allen, who is in studio with us. Another quick segment coming up right after a quick break. Stay tuned.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
It occurred to me tonight, for the first time, that the long-winged insect that over and over again rams its body into the wood of my front door might not know what he's doing. He might not have a plan. Maybe that's just how he flies, and that is where the door is. And I remember you. The last time I saw you, a few weeks before we would graduate from high school, and a few days before you let a bullet dissolve on your tongue, dancing in a warehouse rave, sweat-drenched and strobe light battered, thrashing your arms back and thrusting them forward. The floor could get so bright and loud, we all slowed down to be more careful, but you kept dancing full sprint tornado, and sometimes you'd spin full weight into a wall and just spread your arms against it and sway back and forth like a lover reunited. This long-winged insect is not trying to get into the house. It doesn't know there is a house. Can't imagine a life beyond that door. All it can see is the light. You and I were both 17 when you died. And ever since then, I have envied you. How you are remembered for towering, unclaimed potential instead of living to look regret in the face. You didn't have to come home 3 weeks later and explain to your little brother why you took too much medicine. Your addiction is remembered as a tragedy, not a betrayal. Your suicide attempt became a suicide, not an unpaid hospital bill. And only tonight did it occur to me that maybe that night when you let your teeth touch metal, you might not have known what you were doing. You might not have had a plan. Maybe you had hit that door so many times you couldn't imagine it might let you through. I'm still ashamed to admit it, but I have always secretly believed you did it for me, that you wanted to show me that there is a way out of all of this. Not so that I would follow you, but so I would understand that every day that I am alive is a day that I choose to be alive. And when the music stops, you still get to keep on dancing. And when the light is so bright it blinds, you can dance with your eyes closed. And if in that dark you come up against a wall, you keep your arms out wide and you dance with the wall.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is The Bill Press Show. My name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today, along with John Allen, our good friend. We've sort of swapped seats a little bit, just for today. Soon you'll be back in the host chair.
I like the flexibility, the Renaissance man quality of working with you. You know,
it's fun.
You
right?
can sit anywhere. You can
look.
You can ask questions. You can answer questions.
I do what I can.
You can talk about pot from either chair.
Yes, exactly. It's true. Hey, look, do what you know, right?
I was going to bring some whiskey, but I've got my 4-year-old with me, and I decided it was bad to have a drink and then take him to school.
I mean, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound great.
Look, we often get caught making bad decisions in life.
Sure.
I mean, you'll watch your friends and you'll be like, man, that guy just always makes the wrong decision. Today, I made the right decision.
That's a good decision.
Yeah.
That's a good decision.
There's no, award for that. There's no gold star.
Congratulations, you didn't drink whiskey at 8:30 in the morning.
And then drive my son to elementary school.
I mean, when you put it that way, it's really...
But I'm just saying, every once in a while, we make the right decision, and nobody notices.
That's
so
true.
I thought,
we should take a moment to acknowledge
that.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday, after a month or so of hemming and hawing from Paul Ryan, who said he originally wasn't quite there yet to support Donald Trump, he did come out and say he's going to support Donald Trump. He thinks that Donald Trump is the best man to unify the party and push forward their agenda. I want to play, Jamie, that third clip from Paul Ryan about how he wasn't sure, he didn't know him.
I didn't know the guy at all.
Know the guy.
Before he got the nomination. Quite frankly, I didn't expect the nomination to be clinched until June 7th at the earliest.
So that's all it was. He just didn't know the guy, John. That's all it was.
Just had to get to know him.
Yeah, once you get to know him.
Once you get to know Donald Trump, your instant reaction is, this man should be running the United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this was always going to happen. The writing was always on the wall. Like, as soon as Ryan was like, I'm not ready to endorse him, it was like, okay, this is just going to be a slow, painful march to your eventual acquiescence, submission, whatever.
And there was this idea that, like, okay, well, maybe Donald Trump will come around and, like, maybe make some concessions to Paul Ryan on certain things, which I said, it's just, Donald Trump will make zero concessions, and Paul Ryan will still endorse him,
which is what happened. Yeah. So, Ryan's like, he's going to, he'll sign the House's agenda when we pass it. It's like, yeah, with the Democratic Senate or a Senate that has, 48 Democratic members, if it doesn't have more than 50, that's not going to happen.
Okay, Paul, whatever.
Good luck with that.
Good, yeah, lots of luck. So, what is their relationship going to be moving forward? I mean, is Paul Ryan going to be a big part of the Donald Trump campaign, or is it just sort of another victory for Trump and another broken body left in his wake?
Yeah, I don't think. I think if Donald Trump were falling, Paul Ryan would get out of the way.
Yeah, I think that about
I'm sorry, Donald. Was that the nomination up there? Yeah, I'm going to go grab the 2020 version. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it might be a little more valuable.
Yeah. Does this whole embrace of Trump, is that going to hurt him in the future?
No. Everybody knows. Yeah. He waited long enough. Everybody knows.
He did his little act. He showed.
And if Trump wins, then Paul Ryan isn't running for president for 8 years. If Donald Trump loses, then Donald Trump's stock will have plummeted with Republican voters, and Ryan's willingness to stand apart from him, I think, will be all right for Ryan, if not a positive.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can we talk a little bit about Veep stakes?
Sure.
What do you
Not just
know?
the TV show with Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
which is the best, by the way. It's so good.
I expect she's going to end up as vice president again. That's my.
Oh, really?
They must have some twist.
Wouldn't that be great?
Because the show's called Veep.
Veep, yeah.
And then they made her president. I think they have to find out how to make
her
vice president again. Like, it gets thrown to the House, and somebody else ends up being made president, and she comes in second, and she's vice president. That's how it works.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
What do we know about where Donald Trump stands and where Hillary stands on Veep talk? Because I mean, we'll be hearing about it fairly soon, I would imagine.
Apparently,
right?
Cory Booker is her vegan pal.
I saw this. Let me tell you
That's
something.
not funny. They should stop saying stuff like that.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's dumb.
And then they're echoing like the bad Bill de Blasio joke.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I mean, like, stop making bad jokes. Just, you know why the de Blasio joke doesn't work and the Booker joke doesn't work? Because they're bad.
Yeah,
they're just not funny.
It's not funny. Yeah, make a funny, off-color joke.
Yeah, like Richard Pryor can run around making off-color jokes, profanity-laced, whatever.
Yep.
All good.
Yeah.
I have to say, though, if anybody wants to listen to a good bit, Eddie Murphy doing like a fight between Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby about whether or not you need profanity in comedy is phenomenal.
I haven't heard that, actually. That'd be good.
It's like really good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
All right, John Allen.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. We're done. Look at, you know how this clock works. We're right up against it.
I was ready for Veep stakes.
Oh, let's talk Veep really, really quickly. Give me like a 30-second bang on Veeps.
They both need to pick somebody who people can trust to run the country. and we are in precious short supply in this nation.
Good point. That's a very good point to end on. John Allen, you can follow him at John Allen DC. That's John with no H, just Jon Allen DC on Twitter. Thank you, John. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Peter.
Next time you're back, you'll probably be in this chair, and I'll be over there.
That's awesome.
All right.
I'm for that.
All right, dude. Thanks, man. Have a good weekend.
Take care. You too.
Quick break. We'll be right back.
Your place to talk about the 2016 election. This is the Bill Press Show.
A letter to the girl I used to be. Dear Emily, every time I watch baseball, a voice I no longer recognize whispers, Ethan, do you remember? When you were going to be the first girl to play in the Major League Seattle Mariners rally cap. But to be honest, Emily, I don't. Dad told me that like it was someone else's bedtime story. But I do know you had that drive. Didn't let anyone tell you to wear shorts above your knees. Didn't care if boys thought your hair fell on your shoulders just right, but with girls, sleepovers meant the space between your shoulder and hers was a 6-inch fatal territory. The year you turned 11 was the first time you said out loud that you didn't want to live anymore. In therapy, you said you wouldn't make it to 21. On my 21st birthday, I thought about you. You were right. At 19, you started to fade. I tried to cross you out like a line in my memoir I wished I could erase completely. And maybe I'm misunderstanding the definition of death, but even though parts of you still exist, you are not here. Most of my friends have never heard your name until now. I've been trying to write this letter for 6 months. I still can't decide if it should be an apology or not. But now you will never hear Emily Smith announced at a college graduation. Get married. Give birth. When the prescribed testosterone started taking effect, my body stopped producing the potential for new life every month. I thought about your children, how I wanted them too. I let a doctor remove your breasts so that I could stand up straighter. Now, even if I somehow had those children, I wouldn't be able to nourish them. My body is obsolete, scarred cosmetic, but never C-section. I was 4 days late. They will never be grandparents. I was 1 week late. They will never hold their lover's sleeping figure. I was 11 days late. They will never breathe in a sunset and a sunrise in the same night. I was 2 weeks late. They will never learn to jump rope. I was 3 weeks late. They will never shout, "Watch, Mommy, watch me on the slide." I was 2 months late. A piece of us will never wrap their arms around our leg for comfort, but just to keep them from falling down. And I am sorry that this process is so slow, and all you can do is wonder if you ever had a place. You did. You still do. Don't forget that. Yours, Ethan. P.S. I never hated you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peter Ogburn, sitting in for Bill Press today. It's our final segment of the program, and so with this time, I will wish you a happy weekend, and I'm going to give you some good news as you head out the door to the beach, to the mountains, to wherever you're going. The U.S. unemployment rate has fallen to 4.7%. That is the lowest since 2007. The economy only added 38,000 jobs in May, which is not great, but 4.7 is an amazing number. Some experts, by the way, believe that the Verizon strike had a direct impact on May's payroll numbers. So we will see how that affects this month's numbers when we get those next month. But for now, 4.7% is good news. We will take that. So
could be worse.
Yeah, right? We'll take that for sure. My name is Peter Ogburn. For Jamie Benson, for Ray Rogers, for Monty Kanzler, and for Bill Press, I say thank you very much for tuning in on this Friday. Really, truly, go make it a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday with Bill Press. So have a good one.
This is the Bill Press Show.